Hi, my name is Steve G. Jones, and I'm a clinical hypnotherapist. And I want to ask you a question. Are you one of more than 50 million people who's suffering from tinnitus or ringing in the ears? Or perhaps you're one of the 10 million people who are experiencing the agony associated with tinnitus so badly that you've sought medical attention for it. Or maybe you fall into the 10% of that 10 million people who are dealing with tinnitus on levels that are so bad that it's downright destroying their lives. Regardless of the category that you fall into, my guess is that you've arrived at this website because the method that you've used to combat your tinnitus has failed you in some way. So let me ask you, have you tried everything? Have you resorted to every imaginable measure to address this problem? The problem that's ruining your life? Only to wind up even more frustrated and, in a sense, more tortured than you were before? Well, what you may not realize is that you may be attempting to solve your problem using the wrong formula. And the reason why you may be using the wrong formula is that you're unable to accurately diagnose the root cause of the challenge. And here's what's even more alarming. Your doctor may not be able to identify the root cause either. You see, tinnitus is a funny thing. It has many faces, so to speak. In fact, when we think of it, it's difficult to pigeonhole it. And it's difficult to provide a definitive answer as to what tinnitus is, because it's different for everyone. For some people, it's described as ringing in the ears, yet for others, it could be a hissing sound that they experience. In some cases, the sound itself can't even be classified. The only thing that we can definitely say about tinnitus is that it's a sound that the person consistently hears that the rest of the world does not hear. And you can see why this challenge is so difficult to correct. First of all, you have to figure out what the sound is. Then you have to describe it to the healthcare professional, who in all likelihood has never actually heard the sound personally, because it only exists in the patient's head, in their frame of reality. Then the healthcare professional, who's probably seeing 100 other patients that day alone, with issues that are much easier to identify and treat, is supposed to figure out how to solve your challenge. It's no wonder why so many people are suffering from tinnitus. Simply put, it's just that there are so many dimensions to the problem and so many variables affecting the results of the treatment. Well, I can tell you firsthand how serious the challenge is. You see, I've been practicing hypnotherapy for the past 25 years of my life. And basically what that means is that I have used hypnosis in therapeutic formats to help people create positive, lasting change in their lives by reprogramming their subconscious minds to cause them to think and act in a way that is conducive to them in achieving a goal that they feel will enrich their lives. You would assume that the areas where people ask for the most help are weight loss and finances. Well, that's simply not true. It seems as though everyone wants to look better and everyone wants to have more money. But when you get right down to it, what they really want is control. That's the reason why people really come to see me. It's to gain or regain control over some area of their lives that they feel they cannot handle on their own at the moment. And for some people, those areas have to do with looking better and having more money. But for many people, the challenge has to do with health as well. And for those people, the urgency levels are even greater because they have been programmed to believe that correcting a health issue is much more difficult than, say, a money issue, for example. The frame of thought is that anyone can make more money if they just know how. Therefore, the person's ability to control the outcome is hindered only by lack of knowledge. And once that piece of knowledge is attained, they can achieve the goal or control the result. When it comes to health, however, things don't seem as simple. Most people believe that a serious health challenge is not controllable. And by the way, I like to say challenge instead of problem. Some people would say problem. But I believe if you have a problem, you have something really difficult to overcome. If you have a challenge, then it becomes kind of exciting. Then you realize it's something that you can win. But the truth is that most people think that correcting a serious health challenge is more a matter of luck or chance than knowledge and ability. Well, I'm here to tell you that even your health, regardless of what state it's in, can be drastically changed by you if you have access to the right information. How many times have we heard of people with stage 4 cancer who have been given 6 months to live, and they beat the disease, and they go on to live for another 40 years? The result is nothing more than the person accessing the right information and applying it in a way that changes the outcome. It's exactly the same way that people make more money. It's the same way they become more motivated to achieve. It's the same way they become more motivated to achieve almost anything else in life. Now, for over the past 25 years, I've had people come to me with all kinds of health challenges, ranging from anorexia to sexual dysfunction to stress to OCD to addictions, and just about anything else you can think of. And one of the biggest health issues that I have seen people experience is tinnitus. In fact, more people than I can think of visited my office in Beverly Hills, paid a pretty penny for a private session to help them deal with tinnitus. Well, over the years, countless requests have poured in, asking me to create a resource that could help people overcome the challenge. And so a few months back, I decided to get in the studio with my team of professional sound engineers and put my expertise in hypnosis, along with my education in cognitive psychology. I decided to put them both to work and begin formulating a program that people could use to help manage their tinnitus. Now realize this, I'm not a doctor, but what I am is someone who has gotten results for thousands of people using the power of hypnotic influence. And the method by which I do so is a lot like cooking, in that it's both an art and a science. Now the scientific part of it, although complex, is in my opinion the easier part, because it consists of universal principles and sound evidence that, when applied correctly, will produce a result. The key aspect of that statement is the applied correctly part, because that's what makes the process actually work. It's like having paint, brushes, and paper. We know that if you dip the brush in the paint and then apply the brush to the paper, you will see the paint on the paper. And that's all that an artist does. Yet how he or she does it is what separates them from the rest. Picasso and any other artist could do the same thing with paint. Could do the same thing with paint, brushes, and paper. Yet Picasso's paintings were so much different and considered world-class because of how he used those tools. And the same is true of hypnotherapy and the methods by which hypnotherapists apply their techniques. Now, creating hypnosis recordings for tinnitus, however, was unlike anything I had ever done. And the reason is all the dimensions and all the variables involved. That's when I realized that I really had my work cut out for me, and that's why, in many cases, medical professionals don't effectively help people. It's because they don't know what's causing the challenge. You see, tinnitus can be caused by many different factors, ranging from stress to hearing loss to certain medications that one could be taking. So to create a program using hypnosis to help correct the problem without knowing what the actual cause was would be a huge challenge. I thought to myself, if the challenge is different for everyone, then how could I create one resource that would work for so many different people? After all, as I said before, I'm not a doctor. But my good friend Frank Mangano is an expert in the field of health, specifically natural health. You see, Frank's not a doctor either, nor did he ever want to be. Frank is a natural health expert and a consumer advocate who has written hundreds of articles pertaining to natural health. He's the author of 4 books, including The Blood Pressure Miracle, which is an Amazon.com bestseller, by the way. And Frank wrote that book about how people can lower their blood pressure naturally, without any prescription medication. So I immediately got Frank on the phone and told him about the program I was creating for tinnitus and the challenges that I was running into. Now, Frank couldn't help but chuckle a little. "Steve," he said, "that's the problem everyone has with tinnitus. First, the experience itself is different for everyone, and so is the cause." And he told me that he was actually working on a special report dedicated specifically to identifying and treating tinnitus with a holistic approach. Isn't that wonderful when a plan comes together? He told me that he and his research team were at times working around the clock to gather information about the causes of tinnitus and how each cause relates to a certain kind of natural treatment. Then they would scrutinize each treatment method to see how effective it was. "Steve," he said, "my report is just about complete, and now that I think of it, it has all of the tools that you need to make your program effective. What perfect timing! It was at that very moment that Frank decided to collaborate with me on the project and provide all the raw health material needed to be synergistically combined with the hypnosis techniques to really make this program powerful and effective. Well, I began to get excited. Everything was coming together. So what exactly is the program, you may ask? And more importantly, what is going to make it different from anything else that you've tried in the past? Well, first, I'm going to take you through 4 empowering audio modules in which I cover the main causes of tinnitus, including, but not limited to, every type of medication that can be a contributing factor and what to do about it. You see, once you identify the root cause of your tinnitus, then and only then can you start the correct course of action to treat it. In fact, I'll even show you how to identify how severe your tinnitus is by getting such a detailed look at it that you'll even be able to see what decibel level it's operating at. Can you imagine the advantages you'll have? Rather than wasting your time trying methods that will never have any beneficial effect in your tinnitus whatsoever, you will now have a simple yet powerful formula to identify what's causing it so that you can apply treatments that will work. And the treatments that I'm going to introduce you to will equip you with everything you need to combat the challenge, because they will enable you to attack it on so many different levels. First, we'll cover the basics, then we'll go into some natural herbs and supplements, then you'll be engaged in some powerful hypnosis techniques that will combat your tinnitus on multiple levels. Did you know that hypnotherapy can be just as effective as the prescription drug Xanax in dealing with tinnitus? Only you won't have to lose sleep over the side effects like seizures, depression, amnesia, or nausea, just to name a few. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not completely against prescription medications, as I do believe that they do have a place in our world. But as a clinical hypnotherapist, I'm always in favor of natural treatment methods. And so is Frank, which is why he agreed to include his special secret report on treating tinnitus safely and naturally using holistic methods as part of this program. So among other things, you will discover which things you may be consuming each day that can be contributing to your tinnitus and why you should get rid of them immediately. You'll be exposed to 4 powerful supplements that have been shown to halt tinnitus in its tracks. You'll also discover some proven technologically advanced methods of treating tinnitus. But above all, you will gain that invaluable component that I spoke of before, which is the knowledge needed to create the results you want. So again, I ask you, have you tried everything? Have you resorted to every imaginable measure to address this challenge that's ruining your life? Only to wind up even more frustrated in a sense? More tortured than you were before? If so, then I urge you to try my program right now, risk-free. I can assure you that you will be happy you did, and so will your ears. Now here's what I mean by risk-free. Simply put, I will allow you to download this empowering 4-module program, which includes all the secret techniques, methods, and a hypnosis session, as well as the report written by natural health expert Frank Mangano, and I'll allow you to put it to the test for a full 8 weeks. If your tinnitus does not drastically improve, or dare I say even disappear, then I will gladly buy the program back from you. In other words, I'll give you a full refund. I will give you back every cent that you spent on this program, if you feel you're not benefiting from it, because that's how confident I am that you will benefit from it. There is no doubt in my mind that this program will drastically improve your life for the better by helping you effectively treat your tinnitus. So don't waste any more time trying methods that set you up for failure before you even begin by not accurately diagnosing the cause of your challenge. Instead, you can invest your money in a formula dedicated to identifying the root cause of your tinnitus and providing safe, natural, and most importantly, proven methods to fight it. All this for only $39.97. Just click the Order Now button and you'll be taken to the secure webpage to place your order. And you'll get instant access to the entire program. Isn't it time you stopped living your life as a prisoner of your tinnitus? Take charge today by taking action now. You'll be glad you did. I am Steve G. Jones, clinical hypnotherapist, and I want you to know that I believe in your power to change your life.